Hi everybody, welcome back to Reading with Leon. I hope I don't lose you in a couple of these books that I'm going to be doing today. I thought I'd throw in some children's nonfiction and let me know whether you like them or not. The first one we're going to do is a muskox, and the book is older. I got it from the library's book sale. It is by Maribeth Switzer. It's from the 80s, but I figured some of the information is probably still good. It does not say who took the pictures. I don't know, maybe the same person that wrote it took the pictures. But here are some facts in brief before we get into the book. Has a nice thing right there. It says classification of the muskox. Class Mammalia, or mammals. Order Archaeodactyla, cloven-hoofed mammals. Family Bovidae, family of antelopes, cattle, sheep, and goats. Genus is Obivos, and species is Obivos moschatus. World distribution, which means where they are in the world. Northern Canada, Alaska, Greenland, and introduced into the polar regions, which I think probably to keep them around, they put them into other snowy cold areas, because even though Greenland is called Greenland, it's actually more of an icy place than Iceland. Iceland is actually more green. And the habitat is the Arctic tundra, which means cold places. The distinctive physical characteristics of a muskox: it's completely covered in long, dark hair. So jealous. My hair is not that long, but I did cut it. But I wanted to kind of give a different look for the cold month, and then I'm going to let it grow again. And then I'm going to get it styled. And I hope you guys like the new color. I love it. It has a lighter in patch on the back of the muskox, which I think it kind of shows there. And stockings, we'll probably hopefully find out what it means by stockings, because maybe it has hairy legs that keep it warm. And long horns that grow down and out, which I think are super cool. Their diet is weed, shrubs, and grasses. And their habits, they live in large herds. They're active during the day, regardless of the availability of daylight. So in the Arctic places and some of Canada and Alaska, they have days, and I think some places months, where there is no daylight. And it's just nighttime, because they're up higher, and so they don't get as much of the sun. In certain times of year, the earth goes more closer to the sun, so they get more sunlight. And sometimes in that time, they don't have nighttime. And then when we get to other times, it turns that way. So it's more away from the sun, so they don't get as much sun. I hope you guys learned that in school. I always thought that was interesting, but with my depression, I don't think I could live in a place where it was dark all the time. I think that would affect me. So when you think of moving somewhere, put all those things into consideration, because you want to have good mental health. And some people, they don't know about those things until they go to places like that. So think about how your moods are when it's like more cloudy in the winter, or in the summer for people in the southern hemisphere. Think of that for yourself. So you go place. That's why we're considering moving to someplace more warm. because of my health issues, and more temperate climate, which means it doesn't change like all of a sudden it's cold and snowy and the next time it's hot, and so it'll be better on my health overall, and hopefully I'll be able to, in my opinion, be a better mom. I know people say I'm a good mom now, but I feel that I can't give Leon the best of me. So hopefully when we find that place, we will go there, and hopefully I will have a room just to do my readings for you. And I am sorry I'm talking so much. Let's get into the first thing. So the first part says it's not an ox at all. That's what we're going to read first. Imagine visiting the Arctic in the winter. Cold winds howl across the frozen tundra. Snow swirls all around. There is no sign of life. Or is there? Off in the distance are some huddled brown forms. What can they be? They are muskoxen gathered together to stay warm. That's the thing, body heat. Very important if you're cold and you have no heat. You have to be a pretty amazing animal to survive in a land where winter comes in September and stays till June. I could not live there. I couldn't live there at all. How can musk oxen stand the cold? Where do they find food in the winter when snow blankets the ground? Fortunately, musk oxen are well equipped for life in this frozen land. It looks like in this picture, you can see it's still snowing, even though it's like green grass and stuff. That's cool. I mean, no pun intended, but I think it's cool that they can move in areas like that. So it is not an ox at all. Don't be fooled by the musk ox name. It's not an ox at all. And it is not related to a bison either, though it looks like one. Instead, the musk ox closest relatives are goats. Maybe that's why they can go over rocky terrain so well. Like goats, musk oxen are cud chewers. This means that they swallow their food whole. Swallow it whole. Don't they ever choke? I don't think I could swallow my food whole. It hurts my throat if I swallow before it's chewed up enough. They store it in a special part of their stomach and then bring it back into their mouth and chew it later. That sounds kind of gross. That'd be like chewing vomit, and I don't like vomiting, so we're going to try not to say that word anymore. Musk oxen also have short goat-like tails, and they can climb like goat. That answers my question. How do they go across the rocky terrain? There is no mystery where the musk in the musk ox name came from. The male gives off a strong musky odor once a year when it's ready to mate. So probably kind of like pheromones in humans. You attract someone that smells good to you. Or you're attracted to someone that smells good to you, and just like they're attracted to you because you smell good to them. But the musk ox has another name that it was given to it by the people who know it best. The Inuit called it Omigmak, which means the bearded one. It does have a beard, and it does kind of look like it has a beard. One look at an musk ox and its long, shaggy coat, and you will see that this is a very good name. And Inuits, I think, are kind of like Eskimos who live in the cold climates. Usually, I think they used to live by the Bering Strait, and they used to cross between America and Russia. So here's another cool picture, and then there's a map that has a blue area that shows where they live in North America. It looks like all the way up in that top part of Alaska And then the really cold part of Canada, and I think that's Nova Scotia over there. I may be wrong. We'll find out. Living at the ends of the earth, musk oxen once roamed all over the lands that surrounded the Arctic Ocean. They lived in Eurasia, which I think is Europe and Asia, Greenland, Alaska, mainland Canada, and some of the Arctic islands. So maybe that's what that is. That's the Arctic islands there. But in the 1800s, they were hunted for the meat. I do remember there was a lot of hunters that started off in Canada and then came down into America, or, well, the United States, because Canada is part of North America. They were hunted for their meat and fur until they were almost all gone, which would have been horrible, but they must have had good meat. And, I mean, being that they're bigger, the food probably lasted a long time. And their fur probably kept people really warm back then when they didn't have heat. Today, musk oxen are protected. There are nearly 10,000 of them in northern Canada. They also occur naturally in Greenland, and some have taken to living in Iceland, the Soviet Union, which is now Russia, and other little countries that broke off there, and then Alaska. Even in summer, you would probably find Ellesmere Island beautiful, but forbidding. To these musk oxen, it is home. So, that's the Ellesmere Island. How big are they? They do look pretty big in pictures. Let's see what it says. In photographs, musk oxen often look enormous, but if you would visit them on the tundra, you would find that they are smaller than you might expect. Oh, okay, well that's interesting. Let's find out how big they are. The shoulder hump of even a large adult, male or bull, would only reach to about your dad's chin. The musk ox has a stocky body, which means short but strongly built. And short legs, kind of like me. I have short legs and I have a stocky body. Even when at my thinnest, I was still a 10-12. The males can weigh from 200 to 400 kilograms, which is 500 to 900 pounds. And the females, or cows, weigh a little less than the bulls. So I'm wondering what dad's chin they're thinking of, because I have a friend that is only an inch taller than me. I wish they said exactly how tall they were. So there's a bull's eye view. Oh yeah, there it shows the lighter fur in the back right there. That's really pretty. Says that fantastic fur coat. Are you surprised to find that the musk ox is not as big as you thought? Many people are fooled because the musk ox long, thick fur coat makes it look very big and bulky, and that's true. In the winter, when you wear those poofy jackets, you look bigger than what you expect. And that's okay, because you gotta stay warm. Musk oxen probably have the longest hair of all wild animals, and they need it to keep them warm. Their coat also protects them from insects. That's cool. The hair, excuse me, hold on. Their hair is dark brown or almost black over most of the body, with a creamy to yellowish brown saddle-shaped marking on the back. The cows and young musk oxen have lighter hair on their foreheads. Their coat is curly at the shoulders, but hangs long and straight everywhere else. So it's like they have their own fur scarf around their shoulders. That's pretty cool. A musk ox has especially thick, long hair at the front of the body. On windy, winter days, it faces into the wind so that its hair gets pressed tightly against his body, which helps keeps in the heat. That's very smart. And it says, caption for the page with the cool animal, it says, a super thick coat has its uses even in summer. It protects the muskoxen from mosquitoes and flies. That's really cool. I think they're beautiful. 2 coats in one. Let's see what that means. What would you do if you had to face the freezing Arctic winter without any shelter? I would move if I had to. I would move. I don't like cold. First, you would make sure that you had super thick wool long johns to put on under your outer clothing. I don't like long johns. Well, the musk ox is admirably equipped in that department. Its fur coat is actually 2 coats in one. The outer coat of the long, sleek guard hairs keep out wind and blowing snow. Under this grows a thick inner coat of soft fur. Ooh, that sounds pretty. This warm, fine fleece completely covers the animal except for its lips and nostrils. You can see that in the picture. Air warmed by the musk ox body gets trapped in its thick fleece. So it's kind of like insulation or like your blanket to sleep under, keeping the warmth in there for you so you're all toasty. And how would you keep your ears warm if you had to spend all winter out in the cold? Wear a hat. A muskox does not need a hat. Its ears are short and furry and fit closely to its body. They are almost impossible to see under its shaggy coat. That is true. I can kind of see the ear, and that might be an ear in that picture. But yeah, it looks like it has some good hair on it too. They are almost impossible to see under its shaggy fur coat. The musk ox's stubby tail is well hidden by a warm fur too. Yeah, I can't really see its tail in that picture you could see in the last picture. Having small furred ears and tail means the musk ox loses less body heat. So that is true. When you wear a hat or earmuffs, the earmuffs keep your ear warm, but when you wear a hat, because your heat escapes out of your head. When you wear a hat, it keeps it in. That's why when some people take off their hat when they get hot. Oh, that's a pretty picture. Messy shedder. In April or May, the musk ox starts to shed its inner coat. Gradually, thick tufts of it work its way up through the heavy guard hairs. If you saw a musk ox at this time of year, you might think that it was sick. The fur hangs off the animal in big grayish-brown clumps and makes the musk ox look tattered and moth-eaten. That's sad. Long pieces of fur blow in the wind. Some fur clump sticks to the rocks and bushes on which the musk oxen have rubbed, kind of like a brush, brushing your hair or brushing an animal and getting off the loose hairs. But by mid-July, the shedding is over and the musk oxen have a new dark undercoat. What happens to all the fur the musk oxen shed? The Arctic birds use it to build and line their nests. That is smart. See, and this picture shows kind of like it's changing its clothes. Keen senses. Although the musk ox ears are almost buried in the fur, they have a very keen sense of hearing. You might also think that all that hair makes it difficult for the musk ox to see. Actually, I can kind of see its eyes pretty good. But it's not the case. The musk ox has excellent eyesight and can even see well in faint light. Well, that works when it's dark, like for a few months with no sunlight. It's important because winter days on the tundra are very short and the nights are very long. In the northernmost parts of the muskox's range, there may be no real daylight for weeks as the sun does not rise above the horizon. Well, this shaggy wonder has a good sense of smell. That's good. You need to be on the lookout for hunters. Too heavy means too hot. That's true. If I wear too many layers, I'm hot. Imagine wearing a fur coat all summer long. Ugh. That would get very, very hot. I know my Avery, she gets really hot in the summer because she has thick, thick fur. There she is. She's snoring while listening to the stories. And she sheds a lot too. That is what happens to musk oxen in the summer. Although they like to run and play, they soon become overheated because of their too protective coats. When you get hot, you perspire through millions of sweat glands. But in its whole body, a musk ox has only 2 sweat glands located on the back of their feet. So the musk ox cannot cool off by sweating or perspiring. And it gets hot and tired very quickly. I would get hot and tired really quick too. If I get too hot and Leon gets too hot, you can get pretty sick. Yeah. I'll let you think I'm not going to say the word. It can only be active for a little while and then it has to rest. If there are still mounds of snow around, a hot musk ox may try to cool down by laying in the snow. And look how cute the baby musk ox is. Only has short little fur. I think it's so cute. It says a young musk ox coat is short and curly. It is. It's like a big giant poof ball. Like it got on a blow dryer and it just went poof. Home on the tundra. Musk oxen do not have special feeding areas as many other animals do. They do not even have a home where they sleep at night. That's so sad. Most animals have like a little sleeping area. That's their designated area. Instead, they roam over the Arctic plains, stopping wherever they find food. So they're nomadic. They never have a home, kind of like Vikings of old. In the summertime, they look for places where the plants are lush and green, like lots of yummy plants. River valleys that have been covered with rich soil after a spring flood make good summer ranges for musk oxen because lots of plants grow. That's true because when it floods, it leaves behind the nice silty soil so things can grow. In the wintertime, musk oxen move to higher ground. They look for ridges or hills where the wind has blown away the snow, exposing grass or low bushes. But there is little food available in the winter, and the musk oxen may have to roam very far to get enough to eat. How are they so big if they don't get enough to eat? Maybe it's all the muscles from all that walking? In the summer, musk oxen roam coastal plains and river valleys where food is most abundant. So that's supposed to be a picture of the summer. It doesn't look like I see a lot of green food. I see a little spots of green, but maybe the food is still yummy to them. Oh, this is a really cute picture you guys are going to get to see. Summer salads. What do musk oxen eat? In the summer, they dine on grass and plants such as willow herb, knotweed, fleabane, and bladder campion. The fresh green leaves of the tiny Arctic trees make a tasty treat. Although the tundra is almost always defined as treeless, several kinds of trees such as willow, birch, and alder do grow there, but they grow very slowly and not very big. A tree that's 100 years old may be no more than a meter or 3 feet tall, which puts its leaves at a perfect height for a muskox to munch on. So that tells you something. If a muskox head is at about 3 feet, so maybe the hump is only 4 or 5 feet. So yeah, that's not super tall. Well, to me, that's pretty tall. That's almost about the line of a horse's back. That's tall to me. Believe it or not, the musk ox have no upper teeth. To eat, it must grip the food between its tongue or lower teeth and the roof of its mouth. So it's kind of like nah. There's I think it's a super cute picture of musk ox. Frozen dinner. In winter, there is a lot less food available for the muskoxen, and most of it is covered with snow. Their winter food is mainly crowberry, bilberry, Labrador tea, and the small stunted trees of the tundra. Sometimes when the snow forms a thick crust over everything, the muskox must dig for food. It uses its sharp hoofs to paw through the snow. That has to be really cold if they have no top teeth. Using your tongue to pull up the food, that's like brain freeze with every bite. If that does not work, the muskox will use its head. Yes, its head. It will break the ice layer on the snow by pounding its head through the crust. Then use its hoofs to push away the broken ice chunks and get the food below. That's ow. These muskoxen will have to work hard to find food here. That picture's making me cold just thinking about it. And making my head hurt. Very impressive horns. The muskox has a huge head. Oh, maybe that's what they use, is where the horns are. Huge head crowned by a large pair of horns. So maybe they use that part right there instead of that part that I was thinking about. Or, so that probably may not hurt as much, but it's still probably tapping. Probably, ow. The horns turn upwards and outwards. The tips are worn and polished, while the rest of the horns are ribbed and ridged. You can easily tell the female muskox from the bull if you look at the horns. The cow's horns are smaller, and they are separated by a patch of fur on the head. I lost my spot. Oh, there it is. The bull's horns are larger and very broad at the base where they join the forehead. This wide band of horn and thick bone underneath protect the muskox skull. The horns are pale colored on a young muskox and turn dark brown as the animal gets older. It takes about 6 years for a muskox horns to grow to their full adult size. And so it says the horns tell it all. This is a young bull muskox. Yeah, there's no... A female, I guess, has right here fur. Let me see. I wonder if they'll show a female. That'd be interesting to see a female. I'm trying to see if I could find one, but I didn't see one. Handy hoofs. Muskoxen climb rocky slopes with ease. Ice and snow can be difficult to walk unless you have the special footwear. The muskox does. Its hoofs have sharp rims and rough heel pads that give it good traction on slippery surfaces, kind of like a good pair of sneakers. In winter, fur grows on the heel pads for even more traction. I would think it would make it slippery, but... And the hoofs are wide enough to help spread the muskox's great weight out over the snow. That means they must have really big hoofs, like snowshoes. This helps Yeah, this helps to keep it from sinking in. A musk ox also finds its hooves handy for something other than getting around. The back ones are large, or the front ones are larger than the back ones, and they make good shovels when the musk ox dig through the snow for food. Oh, good. It has a picture of the hooves kind of showing what they look like on the next page. So it says, good company. Musk oxen generally travel in groups or herds. A musk oxen herd may contain anywhere from 3 to 100 animals. So some are really small and some are big. But the average, they say, is 15. A herd may change in size from time to time. A large herd may break into several smaller ones, or a number of small herds may join together to form a larger one. Maybe it's kind of like family reunions. Usually the herds will be larger in winter. Sometimes the herds will be made up of mostly females and their young, with the bulls wandering about alone or in smaller bachelor groups. Other times they will be mixed, male and female, young and old. And it says the more the merrier. And then it shows the hoof prints. This is the front. It's a little bit bigger, and that's the back. I'm sure it's probably not accurate size, but to show kind of. And there's a herd. A wall of musk oxen. Musk oxen have very few enemies. The wolf is their main predator, and the grizzly bear may also attack. I wonder how big they are compared to bears. When threatened, they protect themselves by forming a tight circle with the calves in the center. The adults stand with their horned heads pointing out. Instead of just waiting for the predator to leave, one or more bulls may rush from the circle to attack. They take turns doing this so none ever get too tired. The bulls are extremely agile and can run surprisingly fast as they try to gore or trample their attacker. When it gets very cold, the musk oxen form a triangle. The bulls hunch up their shoulders and face into the wind. The calves and cows form the other two sides of the triangle, protected from the wind by the bulls. Within the musk oxen range of temperature is negative 45 degrees Celsius or negative 50 degrees Fahrenheit are common in winter, and that is a defense formation. Look at that. That's a bigger picture of it. A walking circle. After a heavy snowfall or sleet storm, a musk oxen often looks like a walking icicle. That's what it said. I cannot read today. So it looked like a walking icicle. Melting snow sometimes forms icicles which hangs from the musk oxen's coat. The musk oxen cannot bite off the icicles. Instead, it carries them around and they tinkle like bells as the musk ox walks. So there they show huddled against the cold to stay warm. I bet the more people they have in a huddle in the winter, the warmer it is of that body heat. Now we're going to talk about mating time. The cows and bulls mate in September, but before this, two males sometimes challenge each other for the right to mate with a cow. At this time, the male gives off the musky odor that gives the animal its name. The scent comes from the gland near the bull's eyes, and he spreads it over his front legs by rubbing them with his head. In the late summer, the tundra resounds with the noise of battle males. The challengers charge at each other and meet head-on with a deafening crash. That sounds scary and painful. Fortunately, most of the force of the crash is absorbed by the muskoxen's thick horns and skull. The bulls continue to charge at each other until one finally loses the courage and veers off at the last minute. If neither backs off, the bulls continue to fight with head-to-head pushing, hooking of horns, and wrestling until one is so exhausted it gives up. So those are some bulls facing off. Tundra baby. The baby muskox is born in late April or early May, about 8 months after the adults mate. This is still midwinter in the Arctic, but the babies have to be born this early to allow them lots of time to grow up before the next winter. Usually there is just one baby, but some mothers have twins. A newborn calf weighs about 9 kilograms or 20 pounds. Each is about the weight of an adult raccoon. The baby begins to drink its mother's milk almost immediately. It gathers strength rapidly and is able to stand within minutes. In a few hours, it is strong enough to keep up with the herd. Wow. Those are some cute babies. Mother and baby. The musk ox is born with short, curly, dark brown coat. It does not grow long guard hairs like its parents until its third winter. Wow. Until then, it must stick close to its mother and snuggle up to her warm side. The mother only gives birth every other year, and so she has lots of time to look after her baby. And what a fast-growing baby. It begins nibbling tender grass roots within a week of being born, but it continues to nurse on its mother's milk for over a year. By the time the calf is 1 year old, it weighs 90 kilograms or 200 pounds, 10 times what it weighed when it was born. Although the young musk ox is born with no horns at all, small bumps sprout out on its forehead when it is about 6 months old. By the time it is a year old, the horns are 6 centimeters or 2.5 inches long, and at age 2, they are almost 3 times as big. Looks like some babies are having fun. Growing up, the young calves like playing and racing about. They love to butt one another, and their favorite game is King of the Castle. One clambers to the top of a mound and paws the ground, challenging anyone to knock it off. Since it is just a game, no one gets hurt. Soon there is a new King of the Castle, and a new round of butting starts. Butting games prepare the calves for battles when they are older, either with muskoxen or against their enemies. The calves must grow up quickly in their Arctic home. With the help of the rest of the herd, they can live to be 20 years old and have several babies of their own. So here's some words to know it says, in case you had any questions. A bull is a male musk ox. A calf is a young musk ox. A cow is a female musk ox. Cud is hastily swallowed food brought back for chewing by cud chewers such as cows, deer, and musk oxen. Fleece is the woolly inner layers of a musk ox coat. Guard hairs are long, coarse hairs that make up the outer layer of the musk ox coat. Hoofs, the feet of deer, goats, musk oxen, and some other animals, mate to come together to produce young. Nurse, to drink milk from a mother's body. Predator is an animal that hunts other animals for food. And tundra is the vast northern plains. If you guys enjoyed a nonfiction book, please let me know and tell me what you think in the comments. And have a great day.